Matthew 9, verses 14 to 17 is our text today. And the disciples of John came to him, saying, "Why do we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" So we have the disciples of Jesus, the disciples of John. The disciples of John the Baptist come to Jesus' disciples and ask them, "Why are you not fasting like we are?" And so Jesus answers, "Can the friends of the bridegroom mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them?" Okay, so we have bridegroom and bride, and we need to slow down here and think about a bridegroom. Bridegroom is taking a wife. Bridegroom is caring about the wife. The bridegroom is loving the wife even though she has her weaknesses or problems. Bridegroom is paying her debts. Bridegroom is bringing his resources to the bride. Bridegroom is loving the bride. A bridegroom is caring for the bride. Bridegroom is not embarrassed or ashamed. Bridegroom is getting married, and that woman is the focus of his concentration and his concern. Christ compares himself to a bridegroom, and he's taking a bride. Who is the bride but us, the believers? We are the wife of Christ, the bride of Christ in Revelation 19, verse 7. This is a metaphor, a real thing. Not only metaphor here on this earth we see it, but the reality of it is incredible, that we are the bride of Christ. Ephesians 5, a very real thing, the bride of Christ. Christ is the bridegroom. The friends of the bridegroom is John the Baptist and his disciples. They are the friends of the bridegroom, and they're fasting. But the bridegroom here in the world is not fasting. He is gathering a bride. He is gathering believers. So it's a time of service, victory, joy. It's a time of union. It's a different era. So Jesus is teaching the disciples little by patience. And this is a lesson here, verse 15. Can the friends of the bridegroom mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them. This happened at the ascension. And they will fast. No one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch pulls away from the garment and the tear is made worse. This is a picture of the new disciples not being wedded or sewed into the old. But Jesus is giving patience and counsel for them to be established in the new covenant, not in law, but the new covenant of grace and truth, the new heart, new spirit. No one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment. Verse 17, nor do people put new wine into old wineskins. He is really saying that there's a new thing and a new era, a new dispensation. He's actually saying there's new wine. You don't put them in the old wineskins, or else the wineskins break. This goat's stomach is a wineskin, cured, prepared, gets old, dries out, cracks. If new wine is in it, it ferments, gas expands, and the wineskin should expand, but if it is old, it can crack and break. And so he probably saw this happen, and he's using this is an analogy for the need for the church to find the relationship with grace, the relationship in faith, in promise, in the new covenant, not to be stuck in the old. So that John the Baptist represents the old, the law. He represents it. He's not really living in it in one way because he's spirit-filled and he knows God, and God is the God of all grace. But he represents that dispensation, and his disciples are fasting. And Jesus is saying, it's a different time. It's the church age. There is a ministry of grace, new covenant, faith, ministry of the Spirit. This is what he's saying in Matthew 9:14-17. So we are people of the Spirit. We are people of faith. And the beautiful thing in this teaching is that Jesus is teaching and the disciples, he's leading them. Not everything is clear to us, but we will know later. It becomes clearer and more obvious to us. What is the new covenant? What is the relationship between the believer and God? What Christ has done for us. And how do we now live? And we read that in the Apostle Paul's epistles. Right? The work of the Spirit, the walking in the Spirit, the ministry in the Spirit. And we taught about that last night in our Wednesday service. It was very good because the Lord answered prayer. Yes. Amen. God bless.